All right, Morning Show with Anthony vlog here. By the way, we just hit 1 million views. Thank you to everybody who has watched the vlog or shared the vlog on social media. I really, really do appreciate it. It's always tough to talk about Boyd Tinsley because I'm such a fan of his and the band's. Obviously not a fan of the behavior that allegedly went on. I have to say allegedly because Boyd to this day denies all the allegations. But I read the text messages, but it's still alleged. Couple of updates on Boyd. He has announced a new project, and his lawsuit between himself and James Winn, the person accusing him of the sexual misconduct, has been settled out of court. So let's go through this. We'll start with the court, and then we'll talk about the project that Boyd recently announced. Actually, just a few hours ago, he announced it. So attorneys for both James Winn and Boyd Tinsley announced they didn't announce, they notified the federal court on Monday that a settlement had been reached. The attorneys asked the court for 45 days to finalize the settlement and make payments. No terms of the settlement were disclosed. I don't imagine that they will ever be disclosed. James Winn's attorney, Stephanie Henderson Stocker, did make a statement in Olympia, Washington, saying, quote, "We are pleased that the matter has been resolved. The terms of the agreement are private between the parties, and I thus cannot comment further," end quote. Boyd Tinsley's attorney were not able to be reached for comment. The lawsuit, originally filed in Washington State Court in May of 2018, was moved to the federal court in June of 2018 on Tinsley's behest, citing the fact that the action was between residents of two different states and the amount of money involved would likely be more than $75,000. This was a technicality kind of thing. The settlement would probably be more than $75,000, but I must point out that with some other research I've done, the state laws of Washington State on sexual harassment and misconduct are way more strict. That could also be a reason why it was moved. Why his attorneys wanted it moved to the federal side versus the state side. That's not an opinion piece. That's what happened. The lawsuit had been slated for a 10-day trial to begin in September if the two sides could not reach an agreement through settlement. A settlement conference that they held in May. The two sides extended the court deadlines for discovery in order to continue the settlement talks. Essentially, what happened here was they had to file all of their evidence by last Friday, which is why this is happening right now. All the text messages, all the emails, all contracts, all payment records had to be in time for the trial on Sunday. That's where all the settlement, that's why this is happening right now. Because by the time everything kind of comes in here, you look at everything, you have that chance for discovery. Boyd's lawyers have a chance to look at everything and then make a decision on there. This is a little bit more complicated than a he said, she said, or he said, he said scenario, because essentially the defense, we all saw the text messages. If you didn't see the text messages, you can go back to a previous Morning Show with Anthony vlog. I outlined all the text messages. They're not great. If you're a really big fan of Boyd and you don't want to see that, I understand. They're not ideal. It's conduct of unbecoming, as they say. But essentially where this kind of came down to, and you can say it was a little bit of a technicality, was the fact that James Winn was an employee. That's pretty much where his case stood. Sexually harassing somebody, not a good scenario. Sexually harassing an employee, super not a good scenario. So that's sort of the angle where this legal battle came down to, because James Winn was in Crystal Garden. The belief was this was Boyd's band and he was paying all the other band members. Boyd's defense essentially wasn't, I didn't do this. It was more, he wasn't my employee. We were in a band together. That was the defense that he sort of took. That was the approach he took. And James Winn's attorneys kind of took the opposite approach of, no, he was a paid employee. We have records. Here's payment records. Here's contracts. Here's texts. Here's emails of the harassment, so on and so forth. So that's sort of where this whole battle, what it kind of boiled down to on a legal standpoint. Well, however you feel, you think James Winn's lying, or that's your opinion and you're welcome to it, certainly. But from a legal standpoint, that is essentially what this court battle was going to come down to. Because again, if you can prove he's not an employee, you have a shot from a defense standpoint. It seems like not getting to that point was where both parties wanted to be with this thing actually happening. Now, there's 45 days. These things rarely tend to fall apart, but they do. So if anything does change, we'll keep you apprised of the situation. Essentially, Boyd Tinsley has denied all these allegations. The suit alleged over a number of years that Winn was, quote, catapulted by Tinsley into a world of luxury and living his lifelong dream of playing music worldwide. Tinsley's response to the lawsuit was categorically denying, quote, catapulting Winn. Tinsley, according to the response in the lawsuit, it says, and I quote here, Tinsley lacks information or knowledge as to Winn's dreams/perceptions and therefore denies the same. Tinsley denies that Crystal Garden played any shows worldwide and also denies Winn was an employee, end quote. So there was, you can tell in this lawsuit where, like I just explained, all the legal speak was kind of going. We know all the details of the suit basically from there, so I'm not going to go into that. But I will mention that Boyd has denied all these allegations. And I will also mention that James Winn had sent a letter demanding an out-of-court settlement from Boyd in February of 2018. And that was the same day that Boyd announced on Twitter that he was going to be taking a break from the band to, quote-unquote, focus on my family and my health for a while. And then we wound up learning all the things that came after that. Boyd has been quiet on social media. He seemed to take to Instagram in the last few months and not so much to Twitter. He tweeted very few times over the course of 2019, but he returned to Twitter just a couple of hours ago with the following tweets. Happy Thursday, East Coast. Happy Wednesday everywhere else. Sending out love, peace, and positive vibes to everyone, especially for those who need it most. Been a while since I've been on here, but I'm glad to be back on. Hashtag peace and love. And a following tweet. The main reason I haven't been on is that I've put together a group. Well, there's two of us with some EDM thrown into the mix. I've been rehearsing and recording. I'll pass on some music to you guys soon. Hashtag peace and love. Again, I love Boyd. I don't love his actions. I love the old school group. I don't mind the new school group. I know a lot of you out there miss Boyd. I get it. I think the band sounds great right now. But kind of ignorant of Boyd to be on here like, hey, the reason why I haven't been on is because I've been putting a group. Well, not really. The reason why you haven't been on is because you've been dealing with this. All these things. And I just don't know, for those people out there that have been in these situations that are fans of the band, I don't know how happy they are going to be to jump back on the bandwagon of, oh, we want to hear Boyd's new project. And for those of you that haven't been in these sort of scenarios and you don't really care, you're just a fan of the music, I understand your stance of like, well, who cares? Just bring Boyd back into the band. But it's just reality of the situation is it's just not that simple. This was some pretty crazy behavior. Again, go back and read those text messages. It's in a previous morning show vlog. We'll try and put a link if we remember to do so. So that's not the main reason. But he is announcing this project. Two of us, so him and somebody else with some EDM thrown into the mix. He goes on to continue to say, look for us hitting the stage later this summer. We'll be hitting the Northeast first and making our way around the States and Canada. We have just about figured out the name for the group, so I won't announce that till it's ironclad. With the exception of a little rain here and there, the weather in Seaville has been beautiful. I've been enjoying it a lot. To my brothers in DMB, I wish you a very successful and fun tour. That I find pretty interesting because, I mean, they're on tour now. It's not like they're starting a new tour, right? They just kind of, maybe they're starting a new leg. I don't even, seems kind of a random thing to throw in there. But he's wishing well wishes. So I just can't wait to be back on stage, he continues to say, and when I'm going to need the support of you all. If there's a show near you, come and bring friends and we'll jam our asses off. Hashtag peace and love. Hashtag joy of music. Pass on love. Reach within for your own love. Love yourself as much as anyone else. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's all for now. See you soon. Hashtag peace and love. So we kind of rapid fire all these tweets out and left it there just a few hours ago. I am super curious. This is personal thoughts and feelings here. I personally would not go see Boyd. I would definitely, I'm not going to lie to you, I would check out whatever he put out. But I just don't know if I can go in there and be like, hey, I support you, man. I'm going to buy a ticket. I just don't feel right about it. And we did a vlog not that long ago where I kind of talked about, hey, a lot of us don't really know exactly where to fall in our feelings of this. You know, a lot of people kind of go one way and are like, to hell with this guy. And a lot of people go the other way and they're like, this isn't a big deal. He should be like back in the band. And I feel like a lot of us kind of fall in like a weird middle ground of this is all really sudden and it means so much to us, the music and the band and everybody in it. And it's hard to kind of process those feelings. And I said, it's okay to be in that sort of area, that you shouldn't be ashamed to kind of be in that place. But I honestly don't know if I could go see him. I'm curious enough to check out the tunes. That I would definitely do. You know, so to be like, I'm not going to support that guy. That's not true. I guess, you know, giving him a spin on YouTube or something is going to help him. But I do feel like I couldn't actually buy a ticket to go see him. Now, as somebody that's on the radio, I'm not going to lie to you. Knowing that we have a huge Dave Matthews Band fan base on EHM, especially on the vlog, I would, I would try and sit down and talk with the guy. Boyd's always welcome. I've always tried to kind of keep that door open. I'm sure he can't talk about any of the court stuff, which would be weird. But I know that personally, I would love to get a sense of where he's at. I doubt this will ever happen, but stranger things have occurred. Again, go back to previous vlogs between Christy Brinkley and Jimmy Fallon and Howard Stern coming into contact with us. It's all there for you guys online, but you know, it's possible, I guess. So I would definitely talk to him. I haven't written Boyd off altogether, but I do feel that I am curious. Where I'm going with all this is I am curious to see what the reaction is going to be from the fan base. If Boyd does go on tour, you have to figure it's going to be somewhat small clubs. If it's going to be an EDM thing, it might kind of change the landscape of what those clubs are. You know, like a rock club versus like a dance club. I'm curious to see what the response is from the masses. I'm curious to see if he winds up playing to empty rooms. I'm curious to see if people who have been victim to or know people who have been victim to sexual harassment or sexual misconduct would come out and voice their displeasure with him at shows. Because I've read the comments in these vlogs, and they can get pretty personal at times. People have said some pretty crazy things that have happened to them, and you know, people have feelings on it, and I wonder if that would manifest itself into a face-to-face sort of situation, not meaning actual face-to-face, but face-to-stage, I guess is a better term to use, if he actually does go out on tour. I don't know. And then we also get into this a whole forgiveness area. Like, do we acknowledge that he did these things, and do we forgive and move on? Is that also part of it? I'm sure there's some people that's where their feelings are. You know, maybe their feelings are, that was a really crummy thing to do. Hopefully he's become a better person and apologized and figured out with his family, and we can all move on from here. You know, maybe that's part of it too. I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility, but I have to be honest with you. This all seems a little sudden to me. You know what I mean? Like, that letter came from James Winn, and he announced his departure from the band, and then we kind of learned everything. And he's been away for a while, and the few appearances that he has made, we've had on the vlog here. I've criticized. There's been times where he's looked not well to me. But then to have this settlement reached just a number of days ago, and now this announcement of like, I'm coming back to perform on stage, it feels a little sudden to me. That if you do have a shot of making amends with your fans that are upset with you over what you've done, over your behavior, that maybe the best medicine is a little bit of time. Just give everybody a little bit of that time. Nobody's stopping him from picking up a violin or an instrument or playing, you know, but to go out on a tour and solicit, act like, expect people's support and pretend like we didn't see the text messages seems a bit strange and unnatural to me. And again, I know I'm kind of flipping back and forth between radio guy and fan, but those are just my opinions as a fan. You know, like, for those of us that are uncomfortable with this and not okay with it all the way, you know, again, like I said, curiosity is going to get the best out of me, and I'm going to check out the music, but, you know, asking me to even pay $10 for a ticket to support you, I'm definitely not ready for that. Not at all. I'd be curious to get your thoughts. I would love to know what you think on that. And as always, hoping for you guys to respect one another in the comments below. Good to have a nice back and forth, and always great to have dialogue and an exchanging of ideas. Just try not to call anybody a moron or an idiot, okay? That's the latest on Boyd. If there's more on this group, we'll be sure to follow it here. If there's more on the settlement, we'll be sure to follow it here as well.